Do you want effortless topspin without changing your whole swing? Well, stay tuned. I'm going to show you the fastest way to get massive topspin without making big changes. Hi, it's Chris Lewitt, top American junior coach and coach to many #1 juniors in the United States. Let's get massive topspin right now. So the key to massive topspin, the cheat code, is the windshield wiper action of the forearm, the shoulder rotation, sometimes it's called internal shoulder rotation, that gives you the extra spin. And so basically, instead of following through by lifting up and over the shoulder, you're going to make a wiper action as if there's a windshield here, and you're going to go across the windshield, across with the racket. So if it looks kind of like this, you make an arcing movement, wipering from right to the left. If I show you on the TopspinPro here, I'm going to go from right, up, and then over. And that wipering action is a very, very fast movement, and it can add a tremendous amount of topspin. You have to keep your wrist relaxed, you have to keep your arm relaxed, and you have to have good spacing. But if you add that wiper action, instead of following through traditionally over the shoulder, if you add that wiper action, it's going to create a tremendous amount of topspin on your ball. So in terms of the simple biomechanics, you want to let your wrist relax. It's helpful to get some good lag that will help you accelerate the racket. So you get a nice relaxed wrist, let the racket lag, and then you want to brush up and across. So you go up the back of the ball, but not straight up and to the shoulder. You go up the back of the ball, and then you whip up and across. And by going up and across, you can get a really nice acceleration and good topspin. The lag helps to accelerate the racket to the ball. Sometimes using the open stance helps too. So if you're comfortable doing open stance, like a semi-open stance or a full open stance, that can help accelerate the hips, which can then transfer energy into the racket acceleration. So that's what I would recommend. Work on that upward and then across whipping action. And technically, most of the acceleration is coming from the shoulder. It looks like it's the forearm, so there is some mild pronation there. The forearm's pronating. So this is the forearm, and it pronates, but as it's pronating, the main driver is actually the internal shoulder rotation. It's called ISR. And when the shoulder rotates in the glenohumeral joint, when the humerus rotates in the glenohumeral joint, it's a very, very fast rotation. In fact, it's one of the fastest rotations in the human body. So if you can imagine, you're going to feel like it's coming from the elbow, but if you can understand the biomechanics, it's really coming from the shoulder. That internal shoulder rotation is going to give you tremendous racket head speed. There are several common mistakes. One would be to just flick your wrist. You don't want to just flick the wrist without any extension or lift from the shoulder, so you wouldn't want to just flick like this. This is a very common mistake. Players will flick, and they'll get good, you can get some decent spin that way, but you won't get much drive, and you won't get much height or lift on the ball. So you don't want to just flick your wrist and come across too early. Looks like this. There's this idea of lifting and extending and then wipering. That's very important. Lift and extend. Make sure you have space and extension here, and then wiper. Probably the most common mistake is to wiper too soon and to just flick across with your wrist. That's a big no-no. Another thing is to be too locked. If you lock your arm and try to wiper, it's not going to work. You're not going to get much spin on the ball. You might get a little, but you won't get a lot. So you can't have your wrist locked, your elbow locked, and your shoulder tight. That's going to reduce your spin. Another common mistake is to push through the ball too much. So a lot of rec players kind of push through this way. And if you swing in a straight line like this, that's going to kill the topspin as well. A couple different ways to practice this. I recommend a TopspinPro. That's a great way to work in your topspin, or an iCoach, or any kind of rebounder. You just work on the machine, and you try to loosen up your wrist, and you try to get that nice up and across action. Up, lift up and out, and then wiper across. Up and out, stay loose, and try to get a lot of spin on the ball. That's a great way to practice. I recommend that. Another great way to practice is to get up close on the net with the racket holding the ball, pinning the ball to the net, and then working on your wiper from there. you're going to go up and out and across. You can practice a nice topspin wiper there. Pin the ball to the net and then go up and across, up and out, and then across. Stay relaxed and whippy. Pin, up and across. Another great drill is if you're up close to the net, you can use the net as a barrier and a challenge to go over. You can use the net as a barrier. You can drop the ball low and work on spinning it up high. Up and out and across. Relax the wrist, stay whippy. Up and out. You can hear the topspin on that ball. And you can use this to guide your racket. If your racket goes too straight, too linear, you're going to catch the net. If you go upward at the right trajectory and you whip the racket through, you should get a really nice spin. So self-feeding is another great way to practice, or you can use a ball machine. In this case, grab a few balls in your pocket, toss it up high, and then work on your windshield wiper and your heavy topspin. I'll show you what it looks like. Toss up high, and you try to get that nice wipering action. Look like this, toss up high, and then work on your wiper. Show you one or two more. Toss to yourself, work on the wiper, and the goal is to get shape and spin, not to drive through the ball. You don't want to hit the ball too straight. The goal is to get shape and spin, trajectory and rotation. One more. You try to get massive spin, and on the other side, if you do a good job, you'll see the ball jump up high on the back fence. Practice that shadow windshield wiper movement. Work on hand tossing to yourself. Try a few of those drills, and I guarantee you, you'll be on your way to massive topspin. Guys, if you like this video, check out my other forehand video right here. And please, don't forget to subscribe.